Good morning. Thank you for stopping by again today. It is the first Thursday of December 2025. And today's topic is why do people, when they start having discussions about behavior patterns in men or women, somebody always has to say, well, the other sex does it too. But I would suggest that more often than not, whether you're discussing the matter with a man or a woman, if you're talking about behavior patterns that women do, almost inevitably somebody's going to say, well, men do it too. But that takes away from focusing on what motivates women to do what they do. And I think the culture worldwide, whether it's a patriarchy or a patriarchal supported matriarchy, men are accountable for the most part. If you do something that is considered criminal behavior, then there won't be an issue of being accountable. It was like I was listening to a discussion between the two hosts of the show with Paul Pierce. I forget the name of the show, but if you Google Paul Pierce podcast, it'll give you the name. But so he was talking to his host, and they were talking about how men do things with young women, and even though these matters that men do with women is legal, like a 50-year-old man dating an 18-year-old woman, it's almost to talk about it in terms of criminal activity, but no, it's legal. In fact, I knew a young lady that at the time was dating me. She was like maybe 20 years old, but she was a single mom by then. And even though she was my girlfriend, she had this guy who had to be over 60 years old, giving her money, but he was giving her vitamin D. He was giving her all the D that she could handle. And unbeknownst to me, he's going raw. Or at least he went raw enough to where I ended up getting gonorrhea behind that crap. And I think I was like 25, 26. So it's just bizarre how if a man is dating an extremely young woman, everybody will start talking that this is shameful behavior. But I'm saying, no, how is it shameful when it's legal? 18 years, all nations for the most part have deemed 18 to be the age of accountability. In fact, you're accountable even up to where you can't even drink alcohol until you're 21 in some states here in the United States. But we're allowed to let people vote, which I think is going to have more impact on the world or the nation than lowering the drinking age to 18. So the only reason why I bring all of this stuff up is to just discuss that when Paul Pierce and his host started talking about the reverse, where women are dating men, say they're 40, 50 years old, and they're dating 18, 20-year-old men. The girl never spoke in terms of it being creepy. She didn't speak in terms of it being illegal. In fact, she basically says, I just can't do it. And I just thought that was very interesting that she didn't find it so revolting and disgusting that she would forbid other women from doing it or trying to speak in these. It's almost illegal that you guys would be dating these young men. You know, it just is not right. It was more of a preference, and she was able to be respectfully acknowledged and all of that. And she's 34. Wait till she gets to be 45. I guarantee you her whole perception is going to change, her perspective is going to change. And she's going to be rationalizing to say all these men are adults, because I guarantee you, 100% guarantee, check her out 10 years from now. She's gonna be still single. She's gonna be speaking. She's living life with no regrets. She's living her best life, and this is just the greatest that it could be. And even though she doesn't have kids and she doesn't have real family other than the family that has been created outside, like baby sisters and brothers, she's good. She's good. And it's just really weird that women do these behaviors and nobody has really taken the time to notice and call it out. I mean, we call it out, but we don't really analyze the difference. We don't specifically state why. Now, I'm going to tell you why in this video, and I really hope that you guys really appreciate it, because if you pay close attention to my explanation, you'll see how women do this in other situations. And it's more of a projection. The projection is, if I was in that position, I would do the very thing that I see men doing. But because I can't, and it's impossible for me to do it, I have to try to make men feel ashamed that they have opportunities that will never be offered or given to me by virtue of anything that I can do, by virtue of nature. You are just stuck. And that's the thing that really sticks in the craw of most women that try to live these lives of success in terms of what measures a man to be successful. And they just don't get it. And most of the ones that do get it, they still cannot admit that they're wrong. Because to admit that they're wrong is something that a woman, it's so difficult to do. It's become funny that everybody says that we want women to be accountable. A fantasy of Paul Pierce's was to have a woman that's accountable. So it's a fantasy. A fantasy is something that one would dream it would be a wonderful thing to achieve, but he acknowledges the impossibility of it in reality. That's the whole point. So in terms of understanding women, most of the shameful objections that they try to impart on men, it is directly related to their not ever in life being able to get what they so desire. And instead of it remaining a fantasy, they push and try to make it, bring it, they try to conjure it into reality by getting men to kind of side with them and feel sorry for them. And those are the simp suckers that think that they're going to get some kind of reward by doing this. And they get rewarded. They get rewarded with, I can never love you. Because she had talked about this one guy that she dated. Handsome, successful, made good money, but he was so catered to this woman that she just couldn't be happy. And then she says, the whole problem with me is I love the wrong guys. And she didn't even want to acknowledge that this is a problem. And I wish Paul had focused on her saying, no, you do love the wrong guys because you're not really looking for love. You're looking for a challenge. Love is harmony. Love is peace. Love is going through adversity and struggle and being able to get to the other side while maintaining your moral integrity. For you to want to divorce your husband or to even step out on it because you met a guy who's funnier, who's got a better body than your husband, who's better than your husband. He's not better than your husband. He's just more attractive in your eyes. But your husband, he's looking at you with all these stretch marks, with wrinkles, with you having to go to the beauty salon to dye those gray hairs out of your head, and your once tight glove fits like a glove cooch, you know, fitting like loose curtains on a motherfucking shower. Those are the things that he's been able to basically say, oh, well, I made my choice. I just need to accept that I made my choice. I'm stuck. And not being stuck, I'm in this because this is where I want to be. This is the problem with women. Now, I would challenge any man to tell me that women do this too. They don't. They don't. They hang in there with losers because they think he's going to turn the corner. But before they make this choice of committing to a man that's successful, they'll do it. But the minute they think they got a better deal, they'll leave. I mean, like I said, look at Bill Gates, Michael Jordan. All these women left these men, but have they been able to do better? Did they get this thing called hypergamy? Did it kick in? Did they get more successful man? No, they didn't. So miss me with this hypergamy theory. It's a theory, and it's already been debunked because none of these women have been able to successfully do better. Because that's the whole point of the theory. They're looking for the better. They're dating up. But they don't date up. They date out. They date out of one situation, get into another, and the minute they get dissatisfied or unhappy for whatever reason, they're on to the next one. And so, as much as they want to be hypergamous, or let's say the hypergamy theory is true, as much as they are driven for better, they don't see how their lives are becoming like a downhill slide in moral capacity, downhill slide, and you're getting older and less attractive than most men, and your security, your future security has been totally destroyed. It's not even been compromised. It's destroyed. Ladies, will you guys wake up? Just wake up, please, ladies. Well, men do it too. Yeah, Michael Jordan divorced his wife, gave her $165 million. And now he gets $165 million bonus from Nike on top of the endorsements that he does. And he doesn't have to even work for that money anymore. What has his wife done with her $165 million settlement? She probably is down to maybe half of that, if not more. Guys can't keep up with men, so stop trying. It is a fool's errand, ladies. As much as y'all want to rule the world and run shit, you can't. You can always follow behind men. Because even in these countries where we have elected female world leaders, they have to rely on men underneath. They have to rely on the support of the men in that country to go along with her horse crap, if she's going to do horse crap. But I think most of the time, the men limit her impact of doing horse crap. Because I guarantee you, if she gets to a point where she really has to take full responsibility, I guarantee you she's going to blame it on somebody else. Well, with that, I hope you guys get a little something out of this. And if you disagree, feel free to comment. But I would suggest that if you're a black person and you haven't read a book, please don't respond. Because you're cursed. I did a video on that already. Anybody who hasn't read a paper or article or something in the last 10 days, no, in the last 24 hours, do not make any comments. Don't post any comments. Please. Thank you. Have a good day, you guys. Love you.